in this world where we see everything external to us, how do we really bring it back to that inner peace so that we can cultivate unity in this world?
Great question. I love this panel. So many beautiful energies. Like my whole body is vibrating just being in the presence of all of these beautiful star seeds. So I feel it. And unity is the number one thing that we all need to be striving for right now. Another kind of label that we can use along with unity is 5D. I believe that 5D, fifth dimension frequency, is unity, it's unifying. 3D, 4D is still polarity. Right now, we have so much polarity. The number one thing that I try and teach and present to people is objective neutrality. The way that we transmute from going to an extreme polarizing dualistic place is to observe everything in your reality objectively from a neutral 0 point frequency place. And by doing so, no matter if it's a reaction or a behavior that someone else is doing or a choice that you have to make, or an anger that you have towards the government or the system as a whole, which I don't blame you, and this is where we're at right now, but observe those reactions objectively. And the longer that we can hold that objective observation, the more we bring that reaction back to 0 point frequency. And from that place, we can consciously create our reality individually and collectively for the better. If you are constantly being triggered into reaction, whether it be emotional or physical or even spiritual reaction, then we're constantly choosing one side or another. And right now, we are all being pushed to unify ourselves into that collective consciousness. And the number one way that I believe we can do that is through objective neutrality and bringing all aspects of ourselves back into 0 point frequency.
A lot of what we're sharing here, a lot of it actually goes back to transcending our traumas, like Laura had said, and the ways to get to a place of kindness and compassion, and objective neutrality really is to look at those tools and modalities that you can to really confront, some of these traumas so that we can really just be at that center point, that neutrality. Elizabeth, you are connected to the Galactic Federation, right? And what kind of information or messages do we have in regards to being in a reality like that we can actually have open contact with these beings? Maybe not in person contact, but maybe through an awareness. Will we ever be at a day where we have, maybe within our lifetimes, where we can actually connect with them collectively? And will that only happen when we get to this point? What's your take on that?
Well, there's a lot to say about that. There's a lot to say about all of this. But I would say, when connecting to the galactics or your own galactic star family, it really is this connection from within. And even these days, I'm finding that a lot of spirit guides are actually just parallel versions of yourself. I mean, we're really just merging this multifaceted quantum universe that we're in, which is incredible. So disclosure is happening. It's already here. For those individuals who are ready for it, it's going to happen for them. So we're getting a lot of disclosure at an individual level. And then I've got a little spirit guide fly here. And then we're also seeing disclosure at a collective level as well. And for those groups in society who are ready for that, it's going to reach them. And we have to understand that a lot of interdimensional beings are on much higher planes of existence or existing in much higher or different dimensions than us. So if you think about even, a gray being from the sixth dimension frequency or Palladian from the eighth dimension frequency, and here we are existing in the third dimension frequency, soon to be 4D, 5D, we've got a long way to go to connect with them. So what I like to say is meet them halfway, right? Raise your vibration halfway and they can meet you in that kind of, intermediary astral plane. I believe that contact brings DNA activation, spiritual awakening, the raising of your vibration, but you cannot get contacted unless you yourself are doing the work and you're raising your own vibration. So to say, well, why can't I hear my spirit guides? Well, what kind of deep inner work are you doing on yourself? What are you unpacking in your own reality? What are you looking at? And therefore, what are you not looking at is really important. And kind of beyond the cosmic approach, I really have a message for a lot of people who are in it right now, who are really struggling right now in their day-to-day life. Right now, what we're seeing is anything that you have not dealt with in the past. And what I've said before is we had a timeline in 2016. You're being presented with the deep kind of traumas, the soul traumas, the ancestral, the past life, the childhood traumas, those deep attachments that we have and traumas that we've created with this reality. You were confronted with that in 2016. If you did not confront that or unpack that in 2016, you were confronted again in 2018. If you did not unpack that in 2018, you were confronted again in 2020. And here we are. If you said no and you said no and you said no again, everything right now is blowing up for you. For the individuals who have changed their job, changed their relationship, changed their living situation, changed their entire paradigm. And yeah, it sucks in the moment, but you're shifting into a higher frequency in your physical reality as well as the spiritual, right? You got to shift the frequency first internally, and then the external will shift. But what I have to tell people right now who are going through it, and there's a lot of you out there, is make the change. I'm telling you right now, do not go through another 5 years of BS and pretending that you're happy and pretending that it's all right and pretending that you can continue to live your life through obligation and guilt and shame. You can't, all right? And it's going to get a lot worse if you do not choose to change and shift. And yeah, none of us know what that unknown looks like. And that unknown can be scary, but it's time that we trust the divinity. We trust the fact that we chose to be here. We chose to sign up here. We are volunteers. Trust the fact that you have the tools to navigate your current dynamics. And once you surrender and once you trust, everything that is not in alignment with that highest unification is going to completely crumble, and it's going to clear space for something, anything, everything that is in a much higher frequency and vibration. So change is going to be the number one pivot point for you to move into a higher vibration and essentially to live your best, highest vibrational life. And once we can all do that and really look at ourselves at a deep level individually, then the rest of the world can change and shift, because you cannot help your neighbor or your best friend or your family member if you have not first helped yourself. Selfishness out the window. It's time for us to put ourselves first and to really dive deep.